Hi everyone, good morning. It's Margaret Manning here and welcome to 60 and Me. Hope that you're having a great morning. The sun is shining here today. It's just beautiful. We've had quite a bit of rain the last few weeks and months, and it's just lovely to have the sunshine come out. Makes you feel so energized and positive. So I do hope that you're having a good morning wherever you are and that the weather is treating you well. I'm having my cup of tea this morning. I'm trying some new things. I went out yesterday to buy some new teas and I discovered that Twinings, the classic Twinings brand, is doing some interesting things with kind of rejuvenating teas and detox teas. And I love that actually when a brand does something different. I mean, Twinings is such a traditional tea company, but they're trying something new. I mean, it may not succeed for them, but I like it. So today I'm doing this, what they call a detox drainage tea. So it's spring, right? It's a time to be cleaning out your body and thinking of, just getting into a healthy aging routine. But this is a kind of a cool tea, and it does have some interesting ingredients. I have to put my glasses on because the print is so tiny. Okay, so it's got cherry stems, green coffee, chicory root, and then it's got rosemary leaves, orange leaves, and orange flowers. So anyway, I did a little bit of checking, and apparently cherry stems and cherries in general are a really good detox fruit and tea. So I'm having my cup of detox tea this morning. And it actually is really nice. I had some last night and it's very tasty. So that's my tea for the day. Hope you've got something nice and maybe something new yourself that you're trying, tea or coffee, or I don't know. I'm just in a reinvention mode today because I want to talk to you about something that we kind of touched on a few days ago. And that is what happens when you lose your job. When either you are downsized or fired or let go or, worked out of a position, what do you do? Now, we talked the other day about some things, that we can do, within the law. I mean, there are things to help us with discrimination in the workplace around ageism, but it's going to take a while before these things happen. So we've got to take our lives in our hands and take control of what we can. And so we have a blogger, his name's Jeff Henning, who wrote about 14 ways to reinvent yourself after your career ends. And this could be a voluntary ending to your career. You could just decide, I've had enough of this job and I'm going to do something new. But then you find yourself in that kind of twilight zone of what do I do next? So, the word reinvention comes up. And I think this is, of course, a really wonderful time in our lives to reinvent ourselves, to try something that maybe we've always wanted to do, or as in my case, to start my own business and to take that on. And sometimes you'll find that it's more work than the previous job you were doing. So I think it's important that you look at the situation and then work through it in your own way. So first thing he says is don't resent the crisis. I mean, it may be a complete shock to you that you've lost your job and you're without a paycheck and you just don't know what to do next. And he reminds us to just not to resent the crisis and panic, to look at it as an opportunity to really do those things we're talking about, to start fresh, maybe start something that is going to be better for you. So don't waste your life living in self-pity and worry. Try to gather your thoughts together and move forward. Next thing is use your assets. Now, this doesn't mean sell your 401k and use your assets. This means think about all the things that you can do and the people over the years that maybe you've helped and you could reach out to. Now, it could be family, it could be friends, but try to look at all the different places that you can go to get help and start building a new future. Explore, previously kind of out of reach opportunities, things you didn't think were ever going to work for you. It's worth a try. Next one is move yourself forward every day. And if it's just a tiny, tiny thing, that's okay. Just move yourself forward. Even if it's really small, just do something positive. And that could be improving your living situation, your diet. It could just be a very simple going for a walk. But just move forward every single day. Positivity. Next thing is to celebrate any victory. It doesn't matter how tiny the victory is. It could be just, a new connection that can help you. Maybe it's just that you have a good cry. You know, it's like that John Lennon quote, he mentions it, like it's like whatever gets you through the night, it's all right. It's all right. You know, whatever you need, but celebrate that victory. You've got through one more day. Another thing is to don't be anxious about the life in front of you. Now, I do know this is really hard to say. I mean, it's going to happen anyway, right? So we've got to move forward and we have to be as positive as we can. But try to be not anxious about it. Do some meditation. I found that meditation really helps me because it helps me to focus on my breath. Very simple, just to sit there and watch your breath and try to let your thoughts go through your mind and hold on to them. It's a really useful technique, but try to reduce the anxiety by using exercise, meditation, whatever works. Another thing that Jeff talks about is using very small steps to reinvent yourselves. Now, identify your passions, and we've talked about this before. Identify your skills, and use that like as your vehicle that you're going to use to move forward in. Even though there's small, half a mile steps every day, you've got to just build the car that you're going to drive in and move it forward. Next thing that's really important, and we have talked about this before, is how to identify the amount of money that you need to live on. And be really super realistic about it and identify what you're going to have to change in your life in order to make this work. We had a previous conversation about doing a trial run retirement, where as soon as you're going to be losing your job or out of work, that you actually do live as if you were on your pension or live as if you were without a job right now. And of course, you really should always have a little bit, if you can, put away for these kinds of situations. But basically do this early on. He says to do it when you don't have to keep panicking about it. You actually have identified the amount that you need to live on, cut back where necessary, and look at things like the standing orders that you have. Do you really need those subscriptions? Are you going to have to change your diet or your eating habits? Maybe you are going to have to move. So identify that and make that a project. Another thing Jeff says is, I think this is a really good one, is if you're going to have to worry, because some of us are worriers and not so much warriors, just make sure you just worry about today. Just worry about how you're going to get through this day, how you're going to deal with the problem in front of you right now. Don't worry about the future or tomorrow or next year. Just worry, if you have to worry, about today. Another thing is to find a leader. And this is when you are in any kind of medical situation, for example, you look for an expert. You look for someone that's done it before, done a bit of research, done the work. And this is same applies in this situation in finding a wellness coach. Is find someone who's been through this before. There's lots of great mentors. You can look on YouTube, or LinkedIn is a really good source of this. And just go through your list of contacts and see if you can find people that you could just reach out to and say, you navigated this mess. You did this before. What did you do? How did it work? And of course, here on 60andMe, we hopefully share some of the stories that our people have gone through, what I went through in my transition to running my own business. And, just look for leaders that can give you guidance. That's an important one. Another thing on this 14 steps, I know they all sound quite overlapping, but this is accept change. Just accept that change is the only constant in your life. You might as well just enjoy it and get on with it. And just take responsibility for it. All the things you've done in your life have led you to this point. So it's no point worrying about it and stressing, beating yourself up. Just go ahead and try to accept the change. And then work towards making a better future for yourself. Another thing to remind you about, and I know this is hard, is try not to focus on money. The lack of it or the fear of not having it. Just try to focus on the positivity. You're going to end up realigning your life depending on your situation. You might find work right away. You might just decide, that's it, I'm going to retire on a lower budget and survive. But try to focus on it. I know I always when I go shopping now, I always shop more carefully. I shop within my budget. I try also to see the things that are free that in my life that I'm not having to pay for. And some of those are so enriching and so beautiful that it really balances it out. So try not to focus on money. And I do know how hard that is. But the next thing is to start reinventing yourself like now. Don't try to put it off. I'll start reinventing myself when I get a job, I find some part-time work, when I move to a new place. Just look at the whole thing as the process. I love this image in Tibetan Buddhism that your life is your practice. Yeah, you don't sit down and meditate as a separate thing. You just do it. Your life is your practice. All the stuff that you're doing is reinventing yourself. So the next thing, and this is getting close to the end here, we've got a couple more, but I think this is a super important one, and that is get ready for tough times. I'm sorry, you may decide to start your own business, and it may be 12 hours work a day instead of 8 or 7. It's going to be hard, but you have to have that attitude, I think, of something's got to give. You've got to give up something. And Jeff reminds us here that, you've got to sleep, you've got to eat, you need friend time, me time. But above that, everything is optional. And be grateful for those basic things, and then just start moving from there. I think doing whatever it takes is tough, and you might feel resentful, or you might feel a bit bitter that you're in this situation. But hey, you're there, and you've got to live with it. And that's actually one of the reasons that I decided to start 60andMe, because I just felt like women in our 60s do have a lot we bring to the table, but we also have a lot of challenges because our life is complex. We've been through a lot. So that's important. And I think the other thing is and the final thing is to stay healthy. Reinvention takes energy, and you've got to think about the foods that you eat, the exercise you do, and just be prepared. Just get yourself ready for this, and keep moving forward with actionable, next steps. Do things that you can see a result from. I hope that's been useful. I think that the key message here that Jeff makes, and I want to thank him for putting all this together. It was very useful, and that's to stay patient, stay calm, and stay focused. Don't give up. And I do know how hard this is, and I would love you to share some of your stories. If you've been let go from your job, or you've been downsized or reorganized out of your job, and you're having trouble finding work, or maybe having trouble deciding what's next, please share your comments in the section below, because that's what we're all here for, is to help each other, through these challenging times. So anyway, I hope that's been kind of inspirational, and it's given you some really good actionable ideas, practical ways that you can do this next stage in your career when the old one ends. And I look forward to your comments and to your feedback. And my question for you is just a bigger one than really losing a job, and that is, what are you doing to reinvent yourself in your 60s? On any level, what are you doing to reinvent yourself? Look forward to the conversation and to your comments, and I really do look forward to seeing you all back here again very soon. Take good care, everyone. Bye-bye for now.